From 2008, the MVD Marquee collection brings us a remake of an Asian thriller starring Sarah Michelle Gellar, Lee Pace, who you may recall from Pushing Daisies, and he was in those Lord of the Rings movies, wasn't he? I don't remember those movies very well. It's called Possession, and this was interesting. A lot of times there was this big boom after The Ring was remade back in the early 2000s because it was a huge hit. I mean, the original Ring was great. The remake was pretty darn good too. And that ushered in this wave for about a decade or so of remakes of Asian films, be they from Japan or Korea or wherever, or Thailand. And this is one of those. So from the producer, let's see, from the executive producers of The Ring and The Grudge. So Sarah Michelle Gellar comes back in. She had been in the Grudge movies, and this is Possession. So basically the story here is Sarah Michelle Gellar and her husband, ideal life, everything is wonderful. They have helping them out or living with them, Lee Pace, who's like Sarah Michelle Gellar's like good-for-nothing brother-in-law who she sort of tolerates because he's a relative, but he's troubled and surly. He may even have tattoos and silver jewelry. And something goes wrong, and the two brothers are heading in opposite directions on the Golden Gate Bridge for some kind of emergency, and it gets really silly. Via the modern miracle of shoddy CGI, it's very foggy on the bridge, and the two brothers get into a nasty accident, and they're both laying there almost dead or something. And I believe the visual, it's been a while since I've seen this, I believe the visual from above through digital fog is that they're laying there, you know, maybe dead, maybe not, and the trickle of blood from the two guys runs across the pavement and comes together, and then there's like a flash of white or whatever. Shorter version of this is that Sarah Michelle Gellar's husband dies, her brother-in-law survives. She's not too happy about the fact that, you know, the wrong brother made it. And then the surviving brother, Lee Pace, starts claiming to be Sarah Michelle Gellar's husband. Like somehow the soul of her husband is now in her brother-in-law, and there's that struggle of, this is somebody I hate, but he seems to know everything about us, and he is acting like my husband, and he is picking up where my husband left off in the household chores and yard work. And what do I do? Do I believe him? This is crazy. Is this just this dirtbag trying to weasel his way into our comfy life, or is this something paranormal? That's what the audience is left up to try to figure out as well. And it is intriguing. Is this guy just scheming, or did something really strange happen here? And as the film goes on, you see flashes of the old personality of the bad brother showing through the good brother. And you start wondering again, as she does this guy have bad intentions? Is this some kind of metaphysical struggle going on? Or is this some guy letting his guard down because he's just trying to kill me and take over my stuff? So I thought this was really cheesy. It's kind of a cool concept. I'd like to see the original Asian film that it's based on, because this is one of those films where if you put yourself in the shoes of the protagonist, what would you do? Would you believe this? Would you not? Would you run? Would you pick up an axe? Would you pick up a hose? What would you do? Ultimately, I just stopped caring as I was watching it, because the acting was pretty over the top. The execution was pretty cheesy and over the top with music and camera work and all that. And not a lot in the way of special effects. There was the bridge incident, which was just like, wow. I had to rewind it because like, did I just see that? Did they actually just do that? Were they serious about it? Ultimately, this was not good. Extras, we have a making of featurette with Sarah Michelle Gellar. I'm just reading off the back of the box. Deleted and alternate scenes. There actually is like a full alternate ending to this movie on here, which I always find really fascinating. That, you know, a film was written and shot to be a certain way. It maybe got tested, or somebody at the studio looked at it and said, and then they actually go back and reamass people and do something differently. It's interesting to see, you know, the original intended ending. Was that better? Was it worse? Can you see why they didn't do that? How different an impact would that have been if they used it? I'm a fan of that. Even though I don't like the movie, I watch that kind of stuff. So, like some of the other releases in this MVD Marquee collection of these films from early 2000s, the extras are standard definition because they were prepared for the DVD release, and HD wasn't necessarily a thought at that time. So those are standard def. So they don't look bad. They won't fill your screen in HD and look as crisp as the body of the feature does, but they're still there. So at any rate, if you're a fan of Sarah Michelle Gellar, probably one to check out. If you're a fan of Lee Pace, this actually may be one to check out because you probably haven't seen it. And it's Lee Pace in a role that usually he plays the good guy, usually. Or if he plays a bad guy, he's a very grand bad guy in a sci-fi kind of thing. This is Lee Pace as just a dirtbag, just a dirtbag wearing a chain. So it is out now from MVD Marquee Collection, Possession.